The following videos were recorded inside a child's bedroom using a Ring security camera, the kind of footage parents set up expecting to catch nothing more than a toddler climbing out of her crib in the middle of the night. For a while, that was all it was, but according to the family, something had been making itself known in that room, and the little girl had apparently been reacting to things no one else could see, turning toward empty corners, startling at nothing, refusing to stay in the room alone. Then came the first clip. Watch. What makes this harder to explain is that, according to the family, the sound wasn't audible in the house at the time. No one heard it. It only showed up on the recording afterward, which is exactly what investigators describe as an electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP, audio that registers on a device but isn't perceived by anyone present in the room. Whether this was a spirit attempting to communicate or something more aggressive announcing itself, the girl clearly heard or felt something, and her reaction left no room for doubt. That alone would be enough to unsettle most people, but it wasn't a one-time event. Later, a second clip surfaced from the same camera, this time at night, in black and white infrared, and it shows the girl wasn't the only one being affected. Watch. There's no audio on this clip, so whatever triggered both of them remains completely unknown, but the way the child freezes and stares at that empty doorway before fleeing suggests she perceives something standing there. Some viewers think whatever has settled into that room is drawn to the child specifically, which would explain the pattern of repeated reactions over time. Others believe the mother's own fear may have made the energy in the room worse, not better. Whatever is happening in that bedroom, it seems to be getting harder for this family to ignore. In this next clip, a group of women are out driving through a rural area when something about an abandoned house on the side of the road makes them slow down and take a second look. The house is a large two-story structure set back in a field, white peeling paint, a red roof, partially collapsed porch, the kind of place that looks like nobody's been inside in years. One of the women holds her phone up to the window to get a better shot. And that's when they start to notice something in the upper story window on the left side of the house. They can't quite make sense of it at first. Watch. A tall, dark, humanoid silhouette is standing completely still in that window, not shifting, not reacting, just standing there. The women are visibly shaken, turning the car around to get a second pass for a closer look. And even from the road, it doesn't move. Not once. That stillness is what gets people. A living person would react to a car slowing down and pointing cameras at them. Some viewers think it's a mannequin placed deliberately to spook passersby, not unheard of in rural areas. Others aren't so sure, pointing out the figure's height and the way it seems to fill the window frame entirely. If you focus on the second pass, you can make out its outline against the dark interior. Whatever it was, it didn't move. What do you think was standing in that window? The following video was recorded inside what appears to be a Spanish-speaking household. A normal, lived-in home with tiled floors, family photos on the walls, and a large human-sized doll with dark hair and a white outfit lying on a sofa. For a while now, something had been off in this house. The kind of off that's hard to describe until you actually see it. One night, while lying in bed, the person filming opened a security camera app on their tablet and pulled up the live feed from the living room downstairs. The doll was right there on the sofa, still as it should be. Watch.
Son las 3 de la madrugada, se están detectando movimientos en la barber. Estuvimos buscando y pues bueno, captamos, ahí está nuestra muñeca, pero se dan cuenta, cómo se está moviendo. Es la muñeca la que se está moviendo. Miren. Bastante sorprendente. Hace rato en las tardes la estaba usando mi hija. La dejó ahí y de hecho creo que se la dejó sentada. No manches, sí. Se está moviendo bastante. Bastante se está moviendo. Voy a ir a asomarme. Voy a ir a grabarlo. Amigos.
Ah, sí,
¿Ya viste?
Mira, está diciendo que sí.
Voy a salir. No me equivoco, no recuerdo bien si mi hija la dejó adentro o la dejó afuera, pero sí. Pues no digas mamadas, güey. Digas mamadas, cabrón.
On the grainy, sepia-toned security feed, the doll's head appears to subtly turn on its own, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, then more distinctly. A green motion detection box flickers around it, and then the person does something that changes the whole nature of this footage. They grab the camera, walk downstairs in the dark, cross the living room, and unbolt a locked door. Behind it, that same doll is sitting upright on a different sofa, in a completely different room, in a completely different position than what the live camera just showed. The bolt on that door is the kind you have to manually slide yourself. No one else was home. Some viewers immediately thought of the classic idea of a haunted or possessed doll, a concept rooted in the belief that spirits, particularly restless or child-associated ones, can attach themselves to objects and inhabit them. Others looked for simpler answers, suggesting the security camera's slow pan created a parallax illusion, but the locked room is harder to explain away. Then things escalated. The second clip was filmed in the same house at 3:33 a.m. That specific time has its own weight in paranormal belief, often called the witching hour or the devil's hour, said to be a darkened version of 3 a.m.'s association with the crucifixion, a time when the boundary between the living and the dead is thought to be at its thinnest. The person filming, silent the entire time, slowly moved through the dark house with a phone in hand, scanning the living room, the rocking chair, the staircase. Watch.
No manchen, amigos. Son las 3:30 de la mañana. Estamos golpes a todo lo que da. Ya despertaron a mi hija los gritos, los toquidos. Se logra ver algo. Me percaté de algo ahí en la ventana. Hay algo en la ventana, creo. O me lo estoy imaginando. Veo algo ahí en la ventana. Ahí hay algo, amigos. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Lárgate de aquí. Lárgate. Ahí hay algo, amigos. Miren. Voy a ver si se ve. No mamen. Ahí había algo, lo juro por Dios. Está todo bien cerrado. Vieron que ahí había algo. Ahí se veía algo, lo juro por Dios. Ahí había algo. Con la luz se desvanece. Ahí había algo. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Tú no perteneces aquí, va en la hora, amigos. Siempre a la misma hora. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. El que habita el abrigo del Altísimo morará bajo la sombra del Omnipotente. Es hora de estar encerrado. Sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
Around 3:33 in the morning, in a house where the doll had already moved. Now, they can't even sleep peacefully. But it didn't stop there. On a third night, he wasn't quiet about his fear. He was praying in the dark, whispering fragments of the Lord's Prayer, calling out into the blackness. "Who's there? Who's there?" And then, in a voice that sounds less like confrontation and more like desperation, he told whatever was in that room directly, "You don't belong here. You are not welcome in this house. This house is of God. Listen closely."
Desde tu voluntad, así en la tierra como en el cielo. Ya no lo veo. Padre Celestial, Dios Todopoderoso. ¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Quién anda ahí? Tú no perteneces aquí. No eres bienvenido en esta casa. Esta casa es de Dios.
As the camera sweeps across the room, a dark human-shaped figure appears to be standing perfectly still in the shadows. It doesn't step forward, it doesn't react. It simply remains there, partially concealed by the darkness, watching. Some viewers believe it's nothing more than a trick of the lighting or an object taking on a human shape in the dark. Others point out that after weeks of focusing on unexplained activity, it's easy for the mind to interpret vague shadows as figures. But for those who believe the earlier clips captured something genuine, this final recording feels less like an isolated incident and more like the climax of an escalating haunting. In many religious traditions, prayer is believed to be a form of spiritual protection, and some paranormal investigators claim that alleged entities may react when confronted with expressions of faith. Whether that's what happened here or not remains impossible to verify. What began as a doll that appeared to move ended with someone too frightened to walk through their own home without praying. And if there really was someone, or something, standing silently in that darkness, the question becomes whether it had been there all along, simply waiting to be noticed. This next clip was recorded inside a cemetery office during the daytime by a man who had stopped in just to handle some paperwork, the kind of quiet, routine task that shouldn't come with anything unusual attached to it. He's filming because of something he says he already saw moments before the recording started, a shadow figure that moved across the reflection of a large dark board mounted on the far wall, briefly blocking out the window reflected in its surface. He points directly at the board, then pans to show the window behind him, walking around his own chair to demonstrate that there's nothing on his side of the room that could have caused it, nothing that would explain a shape passing through that reflection. so he starts moving deeper into the space, past a closed bathroom door, into a connected workshop filled with old machinery, tools, and a ladder leading up into the ceiling. He's calling out into the empty room, asking if something knocked, asking if it went back to its hiding spot. Watch.
Alright, I'm here at the cemetery office. I came in just to do some quick paperwork, and I'm sitting at this desk, and right in the reflection of that board over there, you can see the reflection of this window right here. And as I looked up, something went across and blocked out that window. I don't know if it was in front of the board, because there's really no room behind me here. It's just the chair, and that's it. There is nothing else. It's just a bathroom door. I swore I just heard a knock. I know I heard a knock. Twice. Did you knock? Did you go back up to your hiding spot? I heard you knock. You want to come down? Where are you? What the fuck is that noise? I heard you.
If you listen carefully, many people believe the recording contains multiple whispered voices. One viewer even claimed to hear what sounds like a response after he asked whether something knocked, interpreting it as, "Yes, help me." Later, when he asks if it went back to its hiding spot, the same viewer believes another whisper says, "Come find me." Others also reported hearing several faint female whispers scattered throughout the recording, although the words are difficult to distinguish and different listeners hear different phrases. This is where the discussion quickly shifts toward what's known in paranormal investigation as electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, faint sounds or voices that some believe are only discovered during playback rather than heard in real time. Supporters argue that these recordings occasionally appear to answer direct questions, while skeptics attribute them to audio compression, background noise, suggestion, or auditory pareidolia, the brain's natural tendency to interpret random sounds as recognizable speech. The location itself only adds to the mystery. Cemeteries have long been associated with reports of unexplained voices, shadow figures, and disembodied whispers, leading some paranormal investigators to believe they can act as places where residual energy lingers. Whether the whispers are simply the mind trying to find words in distorted audio, or whether someone or something really answered him from inside that workshop. The possibility that the responses seem to match his questions is what continues to keep viewers listening to the clip again and again. Now, in this next clip, someone is lying in bed in what looks like a motel room, filming from under the covers in a dimly lit space, and they've been awake for 3 days straight. That detail matters because what they're about to capture puts everything in question. Watch. Standing beside the door appears to be a dark figure draped in what looks like a black cloth. What stands out most is the face, a pale. The figure doesn't appear to move. It simply remains there, watching from the corner of the room. At first, she assumes sleep deprivation is playing tricks on her mind. After 3 days without sleep, visual hallucinations are well documented and can become remarkably vivid, often involving shadowy figures or people standing in doorways. That alone would be a reasonable explanation, but then she reviews the recording. The figure appears to have been captured on camera as well. That detail is what convinced her she wasn't imagining it. Those who favor a paranormal explanation compare it to reports of shadow figures, particularly the subtype often described as cloaked or hooded apparitions, dark, human-shaped forms with unusually pale or featureless faces that witnesses claim to encounter during the night. Whether the camera captured an ordinary object distorted by darkness, or whether her exhaustion simply caused her to notice something that had been there all along, the fact that the same figure appeared both to her eyes and through the camera lens is what continues to fuel the debate. The following video is about Nate, a man who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with or how to stop it. Over time, the activity in his house has gone from unsettling to genuinely alarming. He's been waking up with unexplained scratches on his body and hears footsteps moving through the house when no one else is there. One morning, after finishing his workout and preparing breakfast, he started hearing a clicking sound. At first, he assumed it was the TV, maybe even the heat vent, but after listening more closely, he realized the sound was coming from the kitchen. It sounded exactly like a stove burner clicking, the noise it makes right before igniting. Concerned it could be a gas issue, Nate rushed into the kitchen to check, and that's when this happened. Watch.
The pan is still on the stove, still warm. All the burners are off. But I kept hearing the clicking, like the burner was trying to come on. Like I said, I just finished cooking. I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I was hearing. And it sounded like it was... Go. Why with the knives? Why with the knives? Why? Why with the knives?
The clicking sound alone was disturbing, because this was the first time it had ever happened. But what really pushed viewers into panic was what followed, the knife. For the fact that this wasn't the first time, many believe this moment marks a shift in whatever Nate is dealing with. Paranormal researchers often say there's a difference between passive activity, noises, footsteps, shadows, and intentional aggression. Throwing objects, especially sharp ones, is widely considered a warning sign. And the most terrifying part is that Nate hasn't figured out what to do next. So, until more updates are given, this case remains completely unsolved. This next video was captured by a home security camera. Around 2 a.m., the homeowners received a motion alert and decided to check the footage, expecting maybe an animal or someone passing by. But what they saw left them shaken. Watch. The family replayed the clips several times, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. When they were unable to come up with a logical explanation, they shared the footage with a few of their neighbors, hoping someone might recognize the figure, or at least explain why it looked so disturbingly human. The video ended up spreading, and longtime residents of the area immediately knew who, or what, the figure resembled. According to locals, the apparition looked strikingly similar to a woman who died in a car accident near that very stretch of road back in 1948. For decades, people who've lived in the area have quietly shared stories about a woman seen walking late at night, appearing briefly, then vanishing without a sound. Some believe spirits tied to sudden deaths don't realize they're gone, repeating the same path night after night. Others think certain locations become imprinted with trauma, replaying fragments of the past like a broken recording. What makes this even more unsettling is that the family who captured this footage had only recently moved in. They had no knowledge of the area's history, no stories passed down, no warnings. So for now, all anyone can hope is that appearing and disappearing in the dead of night is all she ever does. Now, in this next clip, Kyle heads down to his basement early in the morning, and this time it's nothing like what he's dealt with before. In the past, it was children giggling, soft footsteps, the sound of something small moving around. But this morning, it's loud and violent. Watch.
Footsteps all freaking night. Who's knocking on my basement door? Lock. Okay, let's go back upstairs.
When the noise stopped, Kyle opened the door and found no one there. At first, he went for the simplest explanation. Maybe someone heard him coming and ran, maybe it was a prank, or maybe there's a logical reason he just hasn't thought of yet. But that theory falls apart almost immediately. Outside, the ground is covered in fresh snow. If anyone had been down there, child or adult, there should have been footprints leading away from the house, but there were none. Whatever was by the door didn't leave the way a physical person would, or maybe it didn't need to leave in the first place, because it's in the house just changing how it manifests. Some believe this suggests the activity is evolving, because it once sounded playful, now it feels aggressive. For Kyle, this isn't just another strange moment to shrug off, it's another unanswered question in a situation that keeps escalating, and becoming harder to explain. So until more updates are shared, this one remains unsolved. In this next video, a family says they've been tormented by relentless knocking late at night. Sometimes it's light, other times it turns into aggressive banging on the front door, loud enough to send the children into tears. The father has tried everything he knows, cleansing the house, daily prayers, asking for protection, and each time it works, but only temporarily. One night they woke up again, but this time it wasn't knocking that pulled them out of sleep. Listen closely.
Johnny, es la voz de la niña, papi.
Sí, pero...
De Marco.
No.
¿Cómo no? Si es la niña.
Pero
¿No
no
le ha
es...
pasado algo?
No. Ya sabes que no es la niña, ya sabes que no es la niña. Ya no vas a ir aquí. Ya sabes que no es la niña.
Entonces,
Pues espérate.
es que oye,
Está aquí afuera, ¿ah?
Sí, no habrá pasado algo.
No, tú tranquila, no pasó nada. Es eso que nos habla. Pero no le voy a abrir. Voy a bajar.
Con cuidado.
No mames, güey. Ah, cabrón. Miren, amigos, no hay nadie. Es de madrugada y mis hijos no están, se fueron a dormir con su abuela. No hay absolutamente nadie. Escuchan los ruidos. Uy. Escuche. Yo creo que ya no es hora de estar. Se escuchó aquí. Son casi las 2 de la madrugada. Ya les mostré. No hay absolutamente nadie. Ya está todo cerrado. Está todo cerrado y me voy.
What immediately unsettled viewers is that the voices being heard sound like a girl, yet the kids in the house who are old enough to speak weren't even home that night. But there's another detail people couldn't ignore. In the house is a Labubu doll. While Labubu is widely known as a collectible designer toy, online forums are filled with unsettling stories tied to it. Some owners claim their dolls move slightly when no one is around. Others report unexplained knocking, whispering, or a sudden shift in atmosphere after bringing one into their home. A few even say activity escalated after prayers or cleansing, a detail that eerily mirrors this family's experience. Skeptics argue the doll is just a coincidence, a harmless object becoming a focal point because fear needs something tangible to attach to. But others believe objects don't have to cause paranormal activity to become anchors for it, especially in homes where something already seems to be present. What makes this case disturbing is the pattern. The knocking stops after cleansing, then returns, the voices mimic children who aren't there, and whatever is happening doesn't seem driven away, just temporarily pushed back. So is the doll acting as a trigger? Or is this something entirely unrelated, using familiar sounds to provoke fear? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, this next clip was recorded inside a retirement home, a building with a quiet but unsettling history. Long before it became a care facility, the property reportedly served as a private infirmary in the early 1900s, taking in patients who were considered too difficult for hospitals at the time. Several former staff members have claimed that deaths were frequent, poorly documented, and often handled during overnight hours to avoid upsetting residents. Over the years, rumors spread about certain rooms being avoided by night nurses, especially those on the upper floors. At around 3 a.m. one morning, this happened.
Oh, I know where that's at.
We have left God's path to follow our own. The sins of us all. I can't think of any better reason to do the next good thing today, so let's pass on. I'm Alex in this reverse of the day. I'm positive, encouraging Caleb.
We work with a lot of dead people.
What makes this moment disturbing is where the man recording was standing. Before the radio started blaring, he was directly below the room and didn't hear a single footstep above him. So, who turned it on? At first, staff tried to brush it off as a one-time glitch, but about an hour later, it happened again.
Dude, no. 'Cause no. Dude, no.
Oh, hell no. It turned on again? You're lying.
And someone had to turn the dial all the way the other way for it to be doing this. I don't know what's going on.
Again this time, there were no signs of anyone entering or leaving the room. Months later, after a string of more subtle occurrences, doors found unlocked, lights switched on in empty rooms, the faint sound of movement in halls long after residents were asleep, the man experienced something far more unsettling. Listen closely.
I am hearing shit. And it sounds like me. Oh my god, this place. I don't think it's Caleb. Hello.
Different words can be heard clearly. Phrases like, "What are you doing?" And then, as he stood on the stairs, a voice saying, "She's coming." In places like retirement homes, where residents, nurses, and night staff move quietly through dim corridors, some believe spirits linger, attached to routines, rooms, or even specific people. So what's the case here? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. His next stop was the children's room, a space filled with old, unsettling dolls. The last time Ian was here, this section of the house left him more shaken than any other. This time, he carefully scanned the room, trying to see if anything or anyone was present.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Holy moly. I'm not alone. I am not alone in here. Okay, just calm down. Let's take a look.
What makes this moment especially disturbing is that just moments earlier, Ian had clearly seen the bear sitting completely still beneath the chair. As if that wasn't enough, just as Ian prepares to leave the room and move on to the next section of the house, something else happens.
Look in that room with the cursed painting again. I don't know. Oh, what the? That sounds like jiggling, like a doorknob. Who's in here? The hairs on my arm are standing on end right now. I literally heard like a jiggling sound. It sounded like a doorknob. I don't know. Is it this one? Did you just jiggle this doorknob? Maybe it was one of the dressers. Oh my god. Okay. I can hear it. It is coming from the closet. Look at that. That thing is moving. I can hear that clear as day. Why are you jiggling that doorknob? Are you in the closet? Just trying to keep my camera on it in case it moves. Look at it. Dude, it is moving. Do you hear that? Look at it. Is there someone behind this? There's gotta be someone. Look at that, dude. You can literally see it moving. Dude, the door is moving. Oh my god. Oh, jeez Louise. That door is shaking.
The closet doorknob began rattling violently on its own, as if someone was standing just on the other side, trying to get out. This wasn't the sound of settling wood or a loose latch. The movement was forceful. Children's rooms are often said to be hotspots in haunted locations, not because of the children themselves, but because spirits are believed to use toys and familiar objects to provoke attention or fear. And in this case, it feels less like playful activity and more like something reacting to Ian's presence. The question is, was whatever moved the bear the same thing trying to get out of that closet, or something else entirely? This investigation is far from over. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded by a home security camera and later shared to YouTube by a man named Charlie on his channel, where he claimed the footage was captured outside his property late one night. The camera overlooked a quiet yard, with a parked pickup truck in the foreground and a road running along a tree line in the distance, all of it lit by the yellow-orange glow of a nearby street lamp. At first, nothing seemed unusual. The footage looked like any ordinary overnight security recording, but while reviewing the video, Charlie noticed something near the stop sign on the right side of the road and called his partner over to watch it with him. Watch closely.
And watch the stop sign on the left or on the right-hand side. It materializes. There's the head and shoulders walking down the road, turns and walks up the road and disappears behind the tree.
That's just freaking nuts.
A translucent human-shaped figure is seen on the road, head and shoulders clearly visible, and walks calmly from right to left before turning up a path and vanishing completely behind a tree, never emerging on the other side. What makes this harder to dismiss is that the figure doesn't run, doesn't flicker out mid-stride. It just walks, deliberately, and then it's simply gone. Some viewers think it's a classic residual haunting, a kind of energy imprint replaying a path someone once walked so often it burned itself into the location. Others aren't sure that explanation covers something you can watch materialize out of nothing. What do you think was walking that road? Now, in this next video, a man who works at a cemetery has been documenting a string of increasingly strange incidents coming from the garage on the property, a locked, cluttered workshop filled with lawn equipment, tools, and what he's starting to believe is something that doesn't clock out. Over the past few days, he's reported a white door slamming shut on its own, 3 loud knocks against it while it was still open, and lights flickering on and off through the windows before he even unlocks the place. He's calm about it, almost too calm, which is either the sign of someone who's gotten used to something, or someone who's made peace with something they can't explain. On this particular morning, while he's walking through the garage with a camera and talking through what he'd experienced before hitting record, it happens again. Watch.
Alright, so I am up here at the cemetery, and I wish I would have caught it, but I was just getting my stuff together for the day, and I had this door open along with this bay door, and this door just slammed shut so loud, and I swear, prior to it slamming, I heard 3 knocks on it while it was open. I have no explanation as to what the fuck. I have no explanation. I don't know what the hell that was. It was 3 super loud knocks, and then the door slammed shut so loud, so fast too. It was like, oh, I wish I would have caught it. I don't know what that. Good morning. Sorry, I forgot to say good morning. Did you drop your tool? I'll get it for you. I'll put it on the workbench. Is that better?
A sudden, jarring metallic clatter erupts from somewhere inside the garage, completely off camera, and the camera jolts as he spins around searching for the source. What he finds is a socket wrench extension lying on the concrete floor. No one else is in the building, and he can't account for how it got there. But here's the thing about the way he responds. He doesn't run. He picks it up, places it on the workbench, and quietly says, "Is that better?" Addressing whatever threw it as if it were a coworker who knocked something off a shelf by accident. Some viewers find that the strangest part. Skeptics would argue the tool could have fallen from a surface nearby, but the force of that clatter and the timing of it are harder to explain away. That simply. The next morning, he pulls in and notices the lights in the locked workshop are flashing on and off through the window, and when they finally stay on, he thinks he sees a dark shadow dart past the glass. He unlocks the door and goes in to investigate. Listen closely.
Alright, so I just arrived to the cemetery, and through that window saw the lights flashing 3 times, on, off, on, off, on, off. They're now off. I waited like a minute. They didn't turn back on, but the last time they flashed on, I could have swore I saw a dark shadow dart by that window. So we're gonna go right in, unlock the door. We're gonna say good morning right off the bat. Good morning. Good morning. I saw the lights on. Good morning. It looked like something darted by that window right there. Now I don't see anything. We're gonna turn the lights on. Good morning. Just here to work. I saw the lights. I saw the lights flickering. Do you need help? Did you lose something? Morning.
He's mid-sentence when another loud clatter cuts through the silence and a small black circular object appears on the concrete floor near one of the mowers, seemingly thrown from nowhere. His voice drops, his breathing shifts, and he starts whispering, clearly rattled despite having been through this before. He'd seen the shadow dart past that same window the day before, which suggests whatever's in that space isn't a one-time occurrence, but something that keeps showing up. Then, on yet another visit, arriving to find the lights on again in a building he'd left locked and dark, he unlocks the door, steps inside, and whispers that he can see footprints near one of the windows. Watch closely.
Alright, I'm up here at the cemetery, just pulled in, and saw the light flash on, flash off. Saw something go by this window, and the lights are on right now. The lights are literally on, still on right now. This is the first time I actually caught the lights while they're still on. Good morning. These lights were off Friday when I left, and now they are on. This is the first time I caught them. They were flashing when I pulled in. This is the first time I caught them actually staying on. Good morning. Oh yeah. No prints. Something flashed in front of this window right here. What the was that? Good morning. Okay. You don't have to throw my headphones. I mean, they're not expensive, but they're not cheap. Actually caught the light staying on this time. You know, you better pitch in for this electric bill if you're gonna keep these lights on.
Two separate metallic clatter sounds erupt one after the other from an unseen source, and when he finally locates the disturbance, he finds his own headphones thrown onto the floor next to one of the mowers. Some people also heard a cat's meow somewhere inside the garage, and while that's been floated as a natural explanation for some of the noises, it doesn't account for all of them, and it certainly doesn't explain the lights turning themselves on between visits. What's living in that workshop, and what exactly does it want with the man who mows the cemetery? The following clips come from the same house, the same rooms, the same security cameras, the same person living through a series of events that started quietly and then got significantly worse. It begins in the early hours of February 16th of 2020, just before 3 a.m., with the house empty, the lights off, and a small cat sitting on the floor near a closed interior door. The cat had come into the bedroom earlier that night and woken the homeowner up, meowing loudly, which he didn't think much of at the time. By the morning, though, the cat was refusing to come downstairs entirely. Watch. The door first drifts open on its own, slowly, a few inches, as if something is testing the weight of it, and then something is seen resting against the wall. No one's there. Skeptics would say air pressure, a draft, an unlatched latch. But the slow creep before the violent slam is what makes that explanation hard to land. Drafts don't usually pause. Then it got worse. On April 27th of 2020, more than 2 months later, the security camera in the same house captured something far more chaotic. The owner had been filming the night before, heard a lot of banging, and went upstairs rather than keep recording, a decision he openly regrets. Listen closely. Objects are thrown from a stacked pile under the stairs. A board game box lands hard in the middle of the floor. A scraping sound tears across the room like something heavy being dragged. And then, as the activity seems to settle, the glass pane door in the center of the frame slams shut on its own with enormous force. Orbs of light appear and vanish twice during the sequence, each one coinciding with a new sound or movement. For viewers familiar with poltergeist cases, that combination, objects thrown, furniture weight scraping, doors slamming, fits a pattern described repeatedly in documented activity reports, where the disturbances escalate in both frequency and aggression over weeks, not in a single night. It's not subtle. And if you've been following this case from the first clip, the same door, the same rooms, the same hours of the night, you'd start to wonder whether whatever this is had been building towards something. 2 months after the security camera footage, the same homeowner found himself downstairs at 5:30 a.m., woken by a loud bang, phone in hand, filming as he walked down a dark staircase. Watch.
Right, so it's like 5:30 in the morning. I just got woken up to a loud bang. I was thinking maybe it's just Corey, but no. Corey's here sleeping next to me. And if you want to have a look as well, this is what he's fucking come to. Falling asleep, watching Minecraft playthroughs. Because I can't fucking sleep and I'm just like, I need to have all my electronics on my fucking Xbox and my PC in order to even like relax. It's ridiculous, but that's what's going on. Let's go see what's going on downstairs. Right, so the light's not working again. What the fuck? Fucking orange on the fuck's sake. Freezer's leaking. Right, and the door's just opened itself. I don't even know if the camera picked that up. Oh, for fuck's sake. I can't be bothered with this. Right, if there's anything in the room with me right now, if there's anything or anyone that wants to communicate, open the door. Go on, open the door. What the f? Oh my god. Right, so there's something in the room. Do you want me to do a f***ing Ouija board? Is that it? What the f? For f***'s sake. Right, I'm just gonna that scared the shit out of me.
Every kitchen cabinet and drawer is standing wide open, and the freezer door is ajar with an orange on the floor. He shuts the drawers one by one, and as he turns, a white door with frosted glass panels slowly swings open behind him. He challenges it out loud, tells it to open the door if it's there, and after a pause, it obliges, thrown open with extreme force, and then slammed shut in the same motion. He asks if it wants him to get a Ouija board, and the moment he finishes the sentence, a tall, freestanding stack of cases in the next room violently collapses. He runs. A continuous high-pitched sound, somewhere between a theremin and a tone, runs underneath all of it. That sound in particular unsettled a lot of viewers because it doesn't come from anything visible on screen. Some think it's consistent with infrasound-adjacent phenomena, low or high frequencies sometimes reported in locations with active disturbances, described in some paranormal traditions as a sign that something is present and aware. Others think it's audio added in post to sell the drama. What would you do if that was your house? Sometime after all of this, the homeowner turned his attention to something else in the property, a plasma ball he'd been using as a paranormal communication device. He unplugged it from the wall, established a system of 1 flash for yes and 2 for no, and filmed it responding to his questions. Take a look.
Right, so the plasma balls just started going off again after I filmed that last video, so I figured now's a good time to ask it some more questions. So I'm just going to unplug it here so you know it's not faked. And someone mentioned that I should ask it to do 1 flash for yes and 2 flashes for no. So yeah, whatever's in the room with me right now, if you want to communicate, would you be able to do 1 flash for yes and 2 flashes for no? Right. So you're in the room with me right now. And do you want to communicate? Right, so were you a human? So you weren't a human? Or you're not a human? Right, and are you a demon? No. I don't know what you mean when you flash like that. So when this started, like before this started, I had a dream that Pennywise was downstairs in this house. Was that you trying to communicate to me? Take that as a yes. And are you Pennywise? No, obviously. Right, so are you bad? Yes. That's creepy. And I will just show as well. Yeah, so if I just... Right, so... I want to keep it all in one shot. Yeah, I was wrong. It is battery operated. Look, there is a little battery slot there. So I am just going to show. I didn't even know that was there, but I am just going to show. If I set the phone down like here, right, and then I unscrew it. Yeah, I didn't even know that there was a battery thing on it. I think the screwdriver's too big. So yeah, I just want to keep it all in one shot so you can see that that's it. Yes. Oh. Yeah, I'm not well at the moment, so if I sound rough, that's why. Right. So, as you can see, watch it, there's 3 batteries inside of it that I didn't even know about. But yeah, when I bought this, I didn't even look, didn't even check to see if there was a battery thing inside. So yeah, I guess Steve-O was right, but yeah, you can see. Oh. You can see there, there's no batteries. So
after the questions, he carries the ball to the kitchen and opens a battery compartment in the base on camera in a single continuous take. No cuts, no edits. And the compartment is completely empty. 4 slots for AAA batteries, all of them vacant. So the device had been responding with no connection to a wall outlet and no batteries installed. That final reveal, done almost reluctantly after a viewer pointed out the battery compartment existed in the first place, is what made this clip spread widely. There's no clean explanation for a plasma ball flashing on command with no power source, so what do you think he's dealing with? The following video is about a family and the terrifying pace at which the strange activity inside their home has been escalating, turning what was once a normal living space into somewhere they no longer feel safe being alone. It all began one afternoon when the wife was home alone. Her husband had already left for work, and she had fallen asleep on a chair in the living room. She suddenly woke up coughing violently, her throat burning, and as she caught her breath, she noticed a smell filling the air. Thick, sour, and unmistakable. The smell of rotten eggs. At first, she assumed it was something ordinary, maybe spoiled food, a gas leak, or something left in the trash. She searched the kitchen, the drains, the trash bins. She cleaned thoroughly, top to bottom, but nothing explained it. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Weeks passed and the smell returned, but this time it would appear without warning, linger for only a few minutes, then disappear again. No source and no explanation. But soon, the smell became the least of their fears. They would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of loud, agonizing screams echoing through the house, screams that didn't belong to either of them. Religious crosses they had hung on their walls would slowly rotate and sometimes be found upside down by morning, something many believe is a deliberate sign of mockery or defiance towards symbols of protection. Other nights, someone would knock on the front door, slow and deliberate, but when they opened it, no one was there. And sometimes, multiple doors would slam violently at the same time, as if something unseen was moving freely through every room, like this.
Hello? 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 Oh, shit! Hey!
After that night, they were shaken enough to temporarily leave the house. They stayed away, trying to convince themselves it could be explained, but deep down, they knew something had changed. During that time away, the husband came to a disturbing realization. He remembered a visit he had made months earlier to an abandoned Catholic church, a place locals avoided. He recalled feeling uneasy while inside, hearing faint noises behind him, and feeling as if he wasn't alone. At the time, he dismissed it as imagination, but now, seeing what was happening in his home, he began to wonder if something had followed him back. But the next video he shared complicated that theory even further. For several nights, he began hearing faint music somewhere inside the house. After searching room after room, tearing the house apart trying to find the source, he finally discovered where it was coming from. Watch.
I don't know if it's exactly or this specific thing, but after playing with it, I did notice it, that it was this doll. So that doll that I have here on my 666 chair, right, has been making some weird sound. Now, what kind of sounds or who could have been provoking the doll, right? But if you listen to this, on the back of this doll, there's actually a latch, which is right there. So that latch there, if you spin it, it will make some sound. I will show you. So this doll here, if you take the outside rank right here, twist it, and I won't twist it too much, but look. And that is the same exact sound I was hearing. Now y'all, let me tell you something. I'm not sure what's activating this or what's causing it to sing, but tonight I will let this GoPro go live for the rest of the night. See what is provoking this to sing. The thing is that when I come out of my room right there,
this thing stops singing.
The doll was the kind that only plays music when its latch is manually turned, so this raised a far more disturbing possibility. Some believe objects, especially dolls, can act as vessels. Unlike other objects, dolls resemble human forms, giving entities something easier to attach to, something easier to manipulate, but others believe something even darker may already be inside the house itself, something using the doll not as a home, but as a tool. So he set up cameras because he wanted proof. Watch. Some viewers believe the doll itself may now be the focal point, acting as a host for whatever entered the home. Others believe the activity started long before the doll, and whatever is in the house is simply using it to make its presence known in a way the family cannot ignore. And the fact that crosses are turning upside down only deepens the fear, because in many documented cases, entities believed to be malevolent will deliberately target religious symbols as a way of asserting dominance over the space and those living inside it. But until more footage is shared, this terrifying case remains unsolved. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man whose home has become the center of a long and deeply unsettling series of events that have only grown more aggressive over time. For months, Nate has documented objects moving on their own, utensils being thrown without warning, and disembodied whispers that seem to come from nowhere. His kitchen, in particular, has become the focal point of the activity, a place where things don't simply fall. They are thrown, as if something unseen is deliberately trying to make its presence known. Over time, viewers who have followed his story have watched the escalation. It began with small disturbances, soft taps, subtle movements, things easily dismissed. But soon, knives and scissors were thrown across the room, not dropped, not knocked over, but launched with force. The kind of force that suggests intention. One morning, his dog began acting restless, pacing, staring toward the kitchen, reacting to something Nate couldn't see. Moments later, a loud bang shattered the silence, and for someone who hadn't known peace in his home for months, his reaction wasn't finding a logical explanation, it was investigating.
Alright, so I just heard something. I don't know where it was coming from, either the basement or the kitchen. Not sure where, but it sounded like a bang or something. The dog is reacting to it, so. Not sure what that was. Is that the wall? I don't know what that was. What the fuck? Okay, those were there.
From the right side of the kitchen, something suddenly flies through the air. You can see the metal object clearly, reflecting light as it travels across the kitchen before crashing violently into the sink. What makes this moment especially disturbing is the fact that this isn't the first time. So, is whatever that's in the house only trying to scare him, or is it testing how far it can go? This time, it wasn't just the movement that unsettled viewers, it was the sound. Some people who turned their volume all the way up toward the end of the clip claim they heard a faint whisper, a single word, "Daddy." And then, on another Sunday morning, something even more disturbing was captured. Watch.
When you're sitting on a Sunday morning, having a cup of coffee, and you see all I can describe as a dark smoke or mist or cloud or something come up the basement stairs and move into the kitchen. Back door is locked. Both locks. It came up from the basement. Like right down there. Hello?
This time, whispers can be heard, but most people couldn't make out the exact words. Some listeners claim the first whisper says, "Why don't you like me?" followed later by, "Can't you hear me?" If true, those words change everything. And once again, it happens in the kitchen. This has led some viewers to speculate that whatever is present may be tied specifically to that location. Some believe it could be the spirit of someone connected to the house's past, possibly someone who once lived there, someone who felt ignored, abandoned, or unseen. Others believe it could be something far darker, something pretending to sound vulnerable in order to gain sympathy and attention. But I'll leave you to be the judge. Now, in this next clip, a man decides to record the terrifying things he experiences anytime he stays late at work alone. What makes his situation especially unsettling is the pattern he has noticed over time. According to him, the activity never happens during the day when the office is full, never when people are moving around or making noise. It only begins when everyone has left, when the building becomes quiet, empty, and still. Some nights he heard faint tapping sounds coming from inside the office itself, like fingers lightly drumming on wood, and over time he started to feel watched.
Kalau masuk, nggak usah main-main pintu. Tutup lagi nyamuknya. Ngapain? Ya Allah, makin iseng aja lah. Astagfirullahaladzim. Udah dulu yang bagus. Hey.
The door slowly creaks open on its own, then something even more disturbing appears. A face. Moments like this are especially disturbing because they suggest that whatever is causing this isn't somewhere far away, it's right there, inside the room, moving within his space. The following clip was captured by a lady's security camera. One morning, while going through her movement notifications from the night before, she noticed an alert triggered at a strange hour, a time when she was certain everyone in the house was asleep and nothing should have been moving. Curious, she opened the footage, and what she saw immediately gave her chills. Watch. A shadow slowly pops out by the door and doesn't fully reveal itself. It peeks carefully, like something was checking if the area was clear before stepping out. What makes this especially disturbing is the fact that she doesn't have any pets, nothing that could have created a shadow of that size or shape, and no one else had access to the house that night. Viewers later asked for more context, so she shared the full video. Watch. The first thing that came to some people's minds was a rat, but isn't it too big to be a rat? I'd leave you to be the judge on this one. This next video was sent in by a lady's cousin who had recently installed a motion detecting security camera in her basement, mainly as a precaution, never expecting it would capture something that would leave her questioning what might be inside her home when she isn't there. According to her, no one was at home at the time, nothing that should have triggered the alert. So when she received a motion notification coming from the basement, a place no one had entered that entire day, she immediately felt uneasy. Still, she opened the footage. Have a look. She believes the white object might be a dryer sheet, especially since the washer and dryer are positioned to the left of the frame. But what makes this difficult to explain is the fact that there is no draft down there. The basement windows are made of sealed glass cubes that cannot be opened, meaning there is no clear airflow that could push something that deliberately across the floor. But what truly terrified her wasn't just the movement, it was the sound. If you listen closely, faint footsteps can be heard, slow and heavy, followed by a low growling or rumbling noise, something deep, something unnatural, something that doesn't sound like it belongs in an empty basement. And again, there was nobody home at the time. Some believe entities prefer lower levels of homes because they are quieter, more isolated, easier to occupy without being disturbed. Others believe growling sounds are especially concerning, often linked in paranormal reports to entities that are not passive, not harmless, but aware, territorial, and capable of interacting with their environment. So now, if no one was home, what exactly triggered the camera? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Blackford County Jail, a location widely regarded as one of the most feared and talked about haunted buildings in the state of Indiana. This time, Ian decides to explore one of the most avoided parts of the building, the attic. According to local rumors and previous investigators, this attic is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl, an entity said to appear unexpectedly and interact with objects left behind. So Ian brings along a few trigger objects, including a stuffed animal, hoping to encourage communication. Watch.
Here, that was hung from this. Whoa. Dude, I think I just saw an orb fly by that thing. If that was you, could you do that again? Were you hung here? Were you executed here? Dude. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, that thing is swaying back and forth. I can't believe that. Dude, it's literally just started swaying back and forth. Dude, now it's slowing down. It stopped. Dude.
As he scans the attic, something unusual begins to happen. Near an old noose hanging from the ceiling, a faint orb appears, hovering close to it. At first it seems subtle, almost easy to miss, but then the noose itself begins to swing. Many paranormal investigators believe objects like nooses can carry heavy emotional residue, especially in places where suffering or death may have occurred, making them potential focal points for spiritual energy. But what happens next is even harder to explain. Watch.
I can't stay up here. I can't. I can barely see. My freaking flashlight's dying too. Alright. I've had enough. I'm sorry, little girl. Thank you.
From somewhere in the darkness, the stuffed animal he placed earlier is suddenly thrown to the floor. Unfortunately, he didn't capture the exact moment, but moments later, Ian captures something even more disturbing. Listen carefully. A faint giggle echoes from the darkness, and it sounds like a little girl giggling. It's often warned that childlike laughter in haunted locations may not always be what it seems, as some believe certain entities imitate children to appear harmless and lower a person's guard. Until more investigations reveal the truth, what Ian captured inside that attic remains one of the most chilling and unexplained moments inside the Blackford County Jail. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured inside a hospital by Dave, a man who claims he's been gifted with sight since he was young. According to him, he doesn't just sense things, he sees and hears them. And he says spirits tend to follow him, especially in places where emotions are intense, like hospitals, cemeteries, abandoned buildings, places where life and death have crossed paths. While Dav was receiving treatment, he suddenly felt like he wasn't alone in the room. Watch.
There's like something in this room that is like moving, like the chairs. Move this shit around here. Oh, my bad. That should hurt. But anyways, if there's a spirit in here, just let me know. You know. And sometimes things this is Kaiser. Oh, good. I felt like a really heavy presence in this room right when I walked in, but I just thought I see something sitting right there. I'm sorry. My phone. That's not good. There's a lot of things happening here. Even that door slowly opened and closed right now. If there's anything in here, just give me a sign. I'm here, confused. Okay, you can say anything. Just don't mess with my heart monitor or anything. That started to move, but it could be people up there. I just came in here. So did you hear TV or something? Move anything you want. Let the people know what reach in here, speak into this thing. Show me your hair, presents. You could, I got a gift, and I'm not afraid. So if you decide to move anything, open that door again, I won't be frightened. What the hell? Oh. Whoa, shh. Excuse me, nurse. Oh, that's some activity. Excuse me. This thing fell. Right here. Yeah, I don't know. I maybe it just fell.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just sleeping. And,
Well, that scared you, huh?
yeah, it scared the shit.
I was worried. I thought you fell.
Oh, no.
It wasn't you. Alright.
Okay, people, that was a scary situation. I know I didn't jerk, but yeah, it's ghost activity. Oh my god. Oh, crap. Well, I got the gift, but I'm not gonna abuse that. Just ask for, little signs here and there. They show them to me. Nothing to be alarmed about, people. Didn't feel it was evil at all. But, whoa, I know you guys heard that over there. Woo! Anyways, God bless you guys. I'm not gonna entertain them anymore because I don't need my heart to go racing. God bless you guys. But anyways, I was gonna cut this video short, but right when I was gonna cut it short, something else happened. But I'm waiting for it to happen again. So this right here, mind you, this is the only sliding door that's open. But this right here pulled all the way back this way. So what happened last time was I was asking it for a sign, and it pushed over this metal thing right here. I had to tell the nurse I was sleeping because I didn't want her to think I did the shit, or I just told her I don't know. I didn't know what to, make up, but this shit is, it's crazy, And all I asked is for a sign, and they give them to me. But the thing is, I'm like used to it when there are signs, But in hospitals, there's a lot of activity, and I already know I'm gonna find something, that would give me a sign or whatever. Oh, just like that. That was up there under my sweater or some shit. Okay. I know you're not welcome here, so you can go back to wherever you come from. Because I'm not taking a nap. And this arm right here you can't do nothing with it. It hurts. So I gotta lay on my side right here. Hey, people. God bless you. Blessings. And, man, pray for me.
If you listen closely, after he says, "I'm here for peace," a faint whisper can be heard saying, "Help," and then what sounds like "knife." That detail is what unsettled viewers the most. Some speculate it could be the spirit of someone who passed away in that very room, possibly someone connected to surgery or a traumatic procedure. Hospitals are places of healing, but they're also places of loss, fear, and unfinished stories. In paranormal theory, strong emotional events can leave behind residual energy, like a recording that replays under the right conditions. Others believe this could be an intelligent haunting, meaning whatever is there is aware and responding directly to Dave, especially since the whisper appears right after he speaks. During his stay, Dave also mentioned feeling a heavy presence near the chair in the room. He said the energy felt concentrated there, like someone was sitting and watching him, but when he looked, no one was there. Of course, skeptics argue hospitals are full of ambient noise, machines humming, distant voices, equipment moving, and audio pareidolia can make random sounds seem like words. According to them, when you expect to hear something, your brain can fill in the blanks. So was it simply hospital acoustics playing tricks on the ears? Or did someone or something in that room hear him when he said he came in peace and answered back? You decide. In this next video, Andrea is walking her dog late at night when something in the distance makes her stop. At first, she thinks it's just her eyes adjusting to the dark, but then she notices shapes that don't look quite right. So she pulls out her phone and starts recording. Have a look. In the distance, 3 shadow figures appear to be standing completely still. Some believe they could simply be people standing under poor lighting, their features swallowed by the darkness. At night, depth perception becomes unreliable. Streetlights can distort proportions, and shadows can merge together, making ordinary figures look unnaturally tall or solid black. But others argue something feels off. In paranormal discussions, shadow figures are often described exactly this way: human-shaped, lacking detail, and usually seen in peripheral vision. They're said to be watchers, observers, and in some reports, they appear in groups of 2 or 3. The fact that there are 3 of them standing together raises even more concern for believers. Some theories suggest that multiple figures appearing at once could indicate something more intelligent or coordinated, not residual energy, but active presence. As for danger, most accounts claim shadow entities don't always attack, but they can induce fear, paralysis, or a feeling of being targeted, and fear is something certain entities feed off. Whatever they were, one thing is clear: they weren't moving, and they were aware enough to stand there while being filmed. Until clearer footage surfaces, what Andre saw that night remains a mystery. Now in this next video, a team of paranormal investigators visit an abandoned house that locals have refused to go near for years. The place has been empty for decades, and as many paranormal researchers will tell you, abandoned buildings have a way of holding onto energy. When houses are left to decay, especially ones tied to unknown histories, tragedies, or sudden departures, believers say the energy inside can become stagnant, trapped. So the team sets up their equipment: EMF readers, cameras, and most importantly, trip wires. For those unfamiliar, tripwires are extremely sensitive devices designed to trigger if something physically passes through them. Not wind, not distant vibration, but something crossing the line. As they begin asking questions, trying to provoke a response, this happens.
And see what's popping. Nope, that's not a new tripwire. That's the same tripwire that we use at the breakfast date, that I've used in other places. Okay. That door just opened up by itself. I didn't even get that far. Dude.
You were not pure either.
This door just opened up by itself. Here we go. Wait. Crazy, right? That was me. I bumped into the table here. If you heard something rattle, that was me. But that door opening up.
Paid. Quite clean.
The trip wires suddenly went nuts, and then, almost on cue, the door slowly opens by itself. Skeptics argue structural shifts could trigger the wires, but paranormal experts would say something else entirely. They believe abandoned spaces can act like containers, especially if something tragic happened there. If investigators actively try to communicate, they're essentially knocking on whatever door exists between worlds. And sometimes, something knocks back. Abandoned buildings already carry risk, unstable floors, toxic air, human squatters. But if something unseen is also moving through the halls, that's a different kind of danger. So was this structural coincidence, or did something in that house finally respond to being called out? You decide. The following video was recorded by a woman named Simone during what was supposed to be a normal evening walk. Watch closely. If you pause at the right moment, you'll notice a dark figure leaning against a tree before it suddenly darts away. At first, Simone brushed it off. Maybe it was a trick of the light, maybe someone was hiding. But what unsettled her wasn't just what she saw, it was what she felt after leaving the area. Even when she had completely walked past the tree line, she couldn't shake the sensation that someone was still behind her, matching her pace. On her way home, she passed a strange building she'd never paid attention to before. This time, she went in. As she steps inside the dark room, look toward the right side of the door near the end of the clip. Something shifts behind it. Simone later said that's when the idea first crossed her mind. What if whatever she saw near the tree wasn't random? What if it was watching her? A few evenings later, she passed the same building again, and this time she heard a voice that sounded exactly like her sister calling her name.
I don't know why the lights are on, but I'm going inside of this house. I just heard my sister's voice, and I'm sick of this. And I need to figure out what's going on so I can put a stop to it. Why is this chair in the middle of the floor?
Mimicking entities are considered particularly dangerous. They don't just appear, they imitate familiar voices to lure people closer. When Simone stepped inside, she noticed a chair positioned strangely in the middle of the room. Before she could even finish talking, she saw the figure again. After that encounter, she convinced herself the entity was attached to the abandoned house, not her. But that assumption didn't last long, because soon after, her own home stopped being quiet. Banging at night, footsteps when she's alone, whispers she can't trace, and an overwhelming sense of fear that comes without warning. One day, a friend visited after hearing everything, and this happened.
Hey guys, it's Simone again.
You kidding me?
Yeah. So I'm here with my friend Lexi, and I thought that this was over, but it's still happening. Something from this entity is still trying to get to me, so...
I thought you were kidding.
No.
Like, this is horrible.
I'm not kidding.
I don't know how you've been living like this. This is literally, like, I've checked this door 5 times. There's no way anyone is in the backyard.
Yeah. So, still going on, and I just wanted to come back and report to you guys that it's still impacting my life every day.
I'm so sorry. This is insane.
Here's the unsettling theory. If the activity followed Simone home, then this may not be about a haunted location anymore. It could be attachment. a phenomenon where an entity fixates on a person rather than a place. And attachments, according to paranormal researchers, rarely fade on their own. It's hard to walk away from something like this without answers, but Simone isn't ready to stop investigating until she understands what's happening. Now, this strange video was posted on December 27th, 2025 by a veterinary hospital in Madison, Alabama. But what makes it even more unsettling is that the footage itself had reportedly been kept private for nearly 4 years. According to the clinic's owner, Renee, something happened that night that caused all employees on shift to stop what they were doing. Have a look.
That's weird. Where is that coming from? It don't sound like it's coming from. Okay, so you still want to do banana bag, 15 mils an hour, head of starch, 4 mils an hour. It's coming from over this way. Alright. Medication, metronidazole, 15 mils BID, ID. Wait, is it scarlet? Wait. I clamped it off before getting meds. Is my drunk it off up there? What's coming from up there? They may have done that when they switched the bag. Is it the new bag for me? No. Alright, who's gonna get it? Help me. What's in the lobby? It's coming from the lobby. No, it's not. Where is that? It's not in here. What is that? What, phantom dolls? That's weird. Is it Charles? You heard that, right? We all heard that. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. What did you hear? A dog keeps yapping. Is it Dakota? No. Look, it's coming from over here. Why don't you look in the front porch and make sure I didn't dump one or throw one in the pen outside or something? I didn't hear anything. You're not hearing that. 3 of us heard it. I didn't hear it, no. You heard it, right? I heard it. I didn't hear it. It sounds like it's coming from this side. You can't hear it at iPod though, right? No. Look at that fence out there and make sure somebody throw one in the fence. I heard nothing. I was like, what are y'all talking about? Yeah, that's a brand new bag. That's fucking bizarre. Yeah. I haven't heard it. I still haven't heard it. All 3 of us heard it. And it was coming from that. It sounded like it was in that room or something. Like it sounded like it was like right before your board. We're gonna play that back. I didn't even hear anything. Can you play it like specifically in those rooms or anything?
After reviewing the footage, Renee says there was no logical explanation for what they witnessed. And this wasn't an isolated event. Over time, strange activity became almost routine inside the clinic. Dog kennels securely latched would open on their own in the middle of the night. Office supplies and lightweight equipment were found scattered across rooms that had been locked. Staff members reported hearing scratching sounds coming from empty runs long after the last patient had gone home. Sometimes motion sensors would trigger in rooms where no animal was being treated. For a veterinary hospital, that detail hits differently. Because this isn't just any building, it's a place filled with heightened emotion, fear, grief, relief, heartbreak. It's where some families say goodbye to beloved pets, and many pet owners will tell you that after their animal passes, they still hear the faint scratch at the door, still feel the weight at the foot of the bed, still think they see a quick shadow dart past in the hallway. Some believe animals, especially loyal ones, linger, and that's the theory whispered among staff. that perhaps some of the dogs who passed away in that clinic never fully left, that the scratching isn't imagination, and that the kennel's opening isn't mechanical failure. So what do you think? Is it residual energy, emotional imprints replaying themselves, or something else using the setting to its advantage? Renee says she doesn't know what's in her clinic, but she's no longer convinced it's empty after closing time. The following video was recorded by a man inside his own home during the day, and from the first second, you can tell something has already happened before he even hits record. He's visibly shaken, breathing hard, phone in hand, urging anyone watching to just listen. A series of high-pitched sounds, almost like small animal yips, are coming from behind a closed door at the end of a hallway. But that's not what has him frozen. Something else caught his attention first. He calls out a name, gets no answer, and then a sound stops him cold. Watch.
Oh my gosh, listen to this. Listen. Listen. Yo. Carolina! Oh! Molly, come here! She's in the other room. Oh my gosh.
Hey, who's up here? Hey, who is up here? Oh my god. Yo! Oh my gosh, man. What was that? Yo. What? I have never had that happen before, ever. Oh my gosh! Dude! Ah! No way! In God's grace!
That voice, soft, clear, distinctly female or childlike, simply says hello in an empty house, in broad daylight. He doesn't brush it off. He opens the door, climbs a steep wooden staircase into an unlit attic, and calls out asking who's there, knowing full well he shouldn't be getting an answer. What he gets instead is worse. A soft whisper in the dark makes him physically flinch, and then a loud, sharp thump sends him screaming down the stairs and out of the attic entirely. He even includes a text note in the video explaining the footage wasn't cut when he opened the door, which tells you he knew people would ask. Some viewers think the voice is a residual sound, a kind of audio imprint left behind by someone who once lived there. The idea that certain spaces hold onto fragments of the people who passed through them. Others aren't so sure. A disembodied voice that responds to your presence, that greets you, suggests something far more aware than a simple echo. Residual hauntings don't say hello back. Whatever spoke to him in that hallway seemed to know he was there, and then followed him upstairs to make sure he knew it too. The following video was recorded by a woman who was alone in her room late at night, doing nothing more than lying in bed with her back to the window, the kind of ordinary evening that shouldn't leave anyone shaking. But something outside began making itself known, and whatever it was, it didn't want to be ignored. She had her phone propped up and recording when she first noticed a dark, smudged shape visible through the white cellular blind behind her. Faint, amorphous, but with an outline that looked unsettlingly close to a hand pressed flat against the glass from outside. She tried to pretend she didn't see it. Watch. The shape disappears abruptly from the blind, and almost immediately, 3 loud, distinct taps come from the window, hard enough to make her gasp. She whispers to herself, trying to stay calm, repeating that it's okay. It didn't stop. When she goes quiet and tries to ignore it entirely, the tapping comes again, identical in rhythm and force to the first set, as if whatever was out there knew she was still listening. Then a long grinding scrape follows, a dragging, creaking sound that lasts nearly 10 seconds and has no obvious source. Her composure breaks completely. She's crying, whispering "stop" over and over, and the raw fear in her voice is hard to dismiss. Some viewers think the tapping and scraping point to something deliberately interactive, not random noise, but a response to her behavior, escalating each time she went quiet. Others aren't so sure, but the pattern is difficult to explain away, and she left her phone recording for another hour afterward. Nothing else happened that night. The following night, it came back. Watch.
No. Okay. It's back. It has never done this 2 nights in a row. Ugh. You were telling me to go yell at it and to look. Okay. Okay. Stole this pro light from my mom. You wanna mess with me? Fine. I'll do what you look like. There's a light facing the window. Okay. Leave me alone! Nothing's there. You heard the tapping, right? Oh my god. Nope. Nope.
Reports like this often appear in paranormal case files as responsive phenomena, instances where unexplained activity seems to intensify the moment someone acknowledges it or attempts to investigate. In folklore, repeated knocking or tapping at windows is sometimes interpreted as an unseen presence trying to draw attention or gain a response, particularly when no source can be found outside. Of course, there are ordinary possibilities too. Small animals, shifting materials, or sounds echoing through an enclosed window well can sometimes create surprisingly loud knocks, but I'll leave you to be the judge of this one. Now in this next clip, a woman is asleep in a recliner at around 2:30 in the morning while a security camera watches over the living room, and that's when something decides to make itself known. The house has apparently had activity before, enough that whoever set up that camera was already expecting something. Watch.
So this is like the Dr. J world. Crazy house. Okay, so this is like the Amityville house. So this is like the Dr. J world. This is the
A hat resting on the newel post at the base of the staircase suddenly tips and falls to the floor. No breeze, no one nearby, no visible explanation. Anthony's reaction is immediate, calling out that something's fallen before he even sees the replay. Skeptics will point to a thin string or a loose balance, but if you watch the slow motion replay closely, the hat doesn't slide. It tips, almost deliberately, like something nudged it. Some viewers think this is exactly the kind of low-level activity associated with a presence that wants to be noticed rather than feared. So, what do you think that was? Now, in this next clip, a young girl is standing in her family's living room at night, clutching a gray blanket, and what she's describing to the woman filming her is hard to shake. The Christmas stockings are still on the banister, the tablet's playing a cartoon in the background. It's an ordinary evening in every way except one. She'd just seen something. Watch.
What did you say? What was it?
It was a black thing.
How? Well, it wasn't the cat? Was it the cat? You saw it just now? When did you see it? The size of Daddy? Just now you saw that? It acted like you? What did it look like?
It's the same kind of hair, but it just looks longer.
Hold it.
In her own words, she describes a black figure, way bigger than the family cat, the size of her dad, but longer. And her expression while she says it is what gets people. She's not performing. She's scanning the room between every answer, glancing toward a doorway just off camera, and at the very end, she pulls the blanket up to her face and whispers, barely audible, "It's still going." No figure appears on camera. Nothing moves, but if you watch her eyes track that doorway, it becomes very difficult to tell yourself she's imagining it. So what exactly did she see? This next video was recorded inside what appears to be a hospital CCU, a coronary care unit. Filmed at night from what looks like a nurse's station, the camera pointed through an open doorway into a dark, unoccupied room. According to whoever filmed this, the sight on the other side was enough to stop them cold. The room is empty. No patient, no staff. But the electronic hospital bed inside is raised to an almost completely vertical angle, its control panel glowing blue, an amber light pulsing steadily near the floor. Watch. That bed position isn't a resting state. It's the kind of angle you'd only see during an active procedure, not sitting untouched in an empty room in the middle of the night. If you look at the lights beneath the frame, they suggest the bed's systems are running, as though it responded to something no camera could pick up. Some viewers think a bed malfunction or a forgotten setting explains it. Others aren't so sure. Hospital equipment that activates on its own, in an empty room at that hour, is harder to walk away from. What do you think was in that room? This next clip was recorded late at night by a man who came downstairs for a glass of water, a completely ordinary moment that quickly became anything but. Standing in his dimly lit kitchen, filming from behind a tall shelving unit packed with glasses and mugs, he starts hearing something that stops him cold. A steady, rhythmic knocking, clear and deliberate, coming from the door that leads directly into his tattoo studio. He explains in a hushed, uneasy voice that the door doesn't connect to the street at all. It opens into a closed, private workspace. There's no reason anyone should be on the other side. Listen closely.
Bajé a tomarme un poco de agua y empecé a escuchar claramente cómo están tocando la puerta de enfrente. Esa puerta no da con la calle, esa puerta da a donde yo hago los tatuajes, al negocio. Y si están tocando, no hay nadie, Igual también escuché ruidos aquí, pero no alcancé a grabarlos.
Some believe this kind of rhythmic knocking, tied to a specific closed-off space, points to a residual presence, energy that doesn't know it no longer belongs there. Others think it's something more aware, and the fact that it stopped when he walked away, then started again when he returned, makes the second theory harder to dismiss. This next clip comes from inside a home in Brazil, where a group of people are gathered in a sparse, concrete-floored room lit by a single overhead bulb, the kind of setting that leaves nowhere for anything to hide. A man is holding a smartphone to film, and from the very first second of the recording, the voices in the room are already panicked. Women shouting in Portuguese, screaming, "What is this? The things are moving," and "rebuke it." Words that suggest whatever started this had already been going on before the camera began rolling. The room is simple. A stove against the back wall, a small fan on a plastic stool, a bucket and a bag of produce sitting in the corner. Nothing should be moving on its own. Watch. In under 30 seconds, the oven door swings open with no one near it. A long-handled tool falls from the wall, and then the bucket, the bag, and the fan are violently thrown from the corner into the center of the room. Not knocked, not tipped, but thrown. Then the propane gas canister slides several feet across the bare concrete floor on its own. The camera whips around to show a young woman with long dark hair crying hysterically, her face completely overtaken by terror, while another person holds a second phone up to film her reaction. The word poltergeist gets used casually online, but in serious paranormal research, it describes something very specific, a phenomenon defined not by a haunting tied to a place, but by chaotic, violent physical disturbance, often centered around a particular person rather than a location. Some researchers believe the person at the center is unknowingly generating the energy themselves, a kind of psychic discharge, while others believe something external is drawn to them. Brazil's own folklore has its own framework for this kind of chaos. Entities like the Corpo Seco, a restless force that refuses to be still. Whether any of that applies here, what you can't explain away so easily is the propane canister. It's heavy, it slid, and nothing in that room was anywhere near it. The following clip was captured by Amanda, who's had some of the strangest encounters inside her home. About 2 weeks after she moved in, she woke up one morning to shocking news. A body had been found in her backyard. And according to Amanda, ever since that day, the house hasn't felt the same. Have a look.
I am freaked the f out. I just got home and tell me why my chairs are like this. Like what the f. I literally still have my coat on. I come walking through the fucking... Oh my god. I'm like shaking right now. I just went and dropped my daughter off to her dad's house. And all the chairs were around the table. What the f. Oh my god. I need to call my mom.
Chairs don't end up like this by accident, and this is not something caused by drafts, pets, or structural shifts. In paranormal discussions, this kind of activity is often linked to an intelligence trying to be noticed, especially when the setup is visually striking rather than destructive. Since then, Amanda says doors open on their own, lights flicker and malfunction, and the house feels different, heavier, quieter, like something is always just out of view. Some believe the discovery of the body may have triggered residual energy tied to trauma, while others think the attention and disturbance surrounding the property may have awakened something that was already there. Skeptics argue stress and fear can heighten awareness, making ordinary issues feel sinister, but others point out that recurring physical changes as especially ones involving multiple objects, are harder to dismiss. Now, Amanda just wants to know one thing. Is there a chance this all has a normal explanation? Or is this a situation that requires real intervention before it escalates? What do you think? This next video was captured by a family's security camera, installed after everyone in the house woke up to a loud bang in the middle of the night, followed by several other unsettling incidents they couldn't explain. Hoping to catch whatever was happening, they set up cameras. Take a look. Aside from the obvious breathing sound, viewers immediately notice something else. On the right side of the screen, along the staircase, something moved. When the family reviewed this footage, it made other moments fall into place. Just weeks earlier, the sister of one of the couples living here called her and asked what she was doing standing on her front porch. Now here's the problem. She wasn't home. She was at work, nowhere near the house. But the anxiety in the house escalated when the family noticed their dogs reacting. Watch this.
What is wrong, Cole? Stop barking. Connor! Knock it off! Hey! Open at the door again. No one's there. Go at Quee. No one's there, honey. Nobody's here. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
The dog repeatedly barks at the door, staring at it with focus. Not playful, not distracted, but locked in, as if responding to something it can sense but humans can't. Animals are often said to react to subtle changes in energy, sound frequencies, or presence long before people do. And when pets fixate on empty spaces, doors, or corners, many believe it's because something unseen has crossed into our world. And if you look at the activities they've experienced, the breathing caught on camera, the movement on the stairs, the mimic sighting on the porch, and the dogs reacting, this no longer feels like a single incident. It feels like a pattern. So could this be heightened anxiety and coincidence? Or is something inside the house slowly making itself known, watching, copying, and waiting? You decide. Now, in this next video, Nate, who's been trying to get to the bottom of whatever is happening inside his house, captures something new on camera. By now, his experiences follow a disturbing pattern. He wakes up to objects scattered across his kitchen floor, his dog refuses to enter certain corners of the house, and the sound of footsteps moving along the stairs when no one else is home. One night, while waiting for a UFC fight to start, he begins hearing something unusual. Listen closely.
Guys, I want you guys to check this out. So, I'm just chilling here, waiting for the UFC fights to start. Dog's there. And I'm just sitting here. I was re-racking my weights. And I was hearing the scratching. And it sounded like it was coming from like right in front of me. But I don't see anything. Like, I heard it. But I was like looking. And it sounded like it was coming from like... You hear that? What the f is that? It sounded like it was coming from like right in front here, but... I don't see anything else. What the f? Like, I have no clue.
Hearing scratching or dragging sounds can mean something is trying to mark territory or test physical boundaries, especially when it happens repeatedly in the same areas of a home. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is Nate's environment. His house is almost always dark. Many believe prolonged darkness, cluttered spaces, and low lighting can make activity feel stronger, either by heightening fear or, according to paranormal belief, by creating conditions where negative entities feel more comfortable. Another night, a different sound woke him. This time, it wasn't scratching, it was stomping, and when Nate got up to check the house, this happened.
Hey guys. So I was upstairs and was woken up to the sound of stomping down here. I mean, loud stomping. It is currently 2:52 a.m. So it's a little before 3 a.m. And the weird thing about it is when I woke up to the sound of the stomping, the dog was sleeping, not even alerted. It's almost like she couldn't hear it. So, as soon as I came down, I walked into like a cold spot. It felt like a certain area was cold. But it was loud. It was such a loud stomp. Like I said, it's 2:53 a.m.
Scratching, stomping, footsteps, all familiar at this point. But what truly unsettled him was something else entirely. His dog didn't react. Normally, animals respond instantly to loud physical sounds, yet during the stomping, his dog remained unusually calm, as if it either couldn't hear it or didn't perceive it the same way Nate did. Some believe the dog may have already learned to avoid reacting, but this concern quickly became secondary. Because the next morning, Nate woke up to something far more disturbing: scratches on his body. If this had happened once, it's easy to say he accidentally scratched himself while he was asleep, a reaction to fabric, even stress-related skin irritation. But it didn't stop. It kept happening. And on the morning after the stomping incident, he recorded this. Watch.
So the people that were asking for a better view of the scratch that I woke up with on my leg, here it is. Like I said, it's not super deep, but it goes down pretty far. And I also noticed on the opposite side, I have two here on the same leg, but on the opposite side, that I woke up this morning with. Now, these ones didn't burn as bad as this one. This one was 2 mornings ago when I woke up. This burned, and I looked down and saw that. And then this morning when I got up at like 2:30 a.m., I woke up to stomping downstairs. And it wasn't until after I worked out and everything that I noticed these. So, yeah, that's the update.
As Nate shows the marks on his body, many viewers begin connecting everything. The scratching sounds at night, the dragging noises, the stomping footsteps, and now, physical marks appearing while he sleeps. This points to something more than a simple house haunting. Physical interaction, especially repeated scratching, is often cited in cases involving attachments rather than locations. Some believe this points towards something escalating, moving from environmental disturbances to personal interaction. Others think whatever is in the house may be trying to assert control, feeding on fear, isolation, or even exhaustion. And the most disturbing part, the activity isn't random anymore. It's consistent, and it's getting closer. So whether it's an attachment, an oppressive presence, or something feeding off the darkness and silence, one thing is clear. Whatever this is, it's no longer staying in the shadows. And until Nate gets answers, this case remains deeply unsettling and completely unsolved.